My sister-in-law doesn't invite me to her baby shower because she hates me. I asked her husband about this special guest, and he said yes, so I told him the truth. In the labyrinth of family relationships, there are moments that test the very fabric of our connections with one another. One such moment was the baby shower for my sister-in-law, Nellie, an occasion that was supposed to be a beacon of joy and celebration. However, became a catalyst for a chain of events that would unravel secrets, strain relationships, and reveal the true nature of family dynamics. Nellie's baby shower was meant to be a celebration of new beginnings. As she approached the milestone of motherhood, I had envisioned the event as a turning point, a chance to bridge the gap that had long existed between us. Our interactions had always been cordial but distant, a reflection of underlying tensions that neither of us had fully addressed. The baby shower presented an opportunity to mend fences and build a stronger bond. Little did I know, the event would instead become a storm of revelations and conflict. The days leading up to the shower were filled with excitement and preparation. I was eagerly awaiting my invitation, expecting that my name would be included among the list of guests. However, as the event drew closer, I noticed with growing discomfort that I had not received any communication about the shower. At first, I attributed this oversight to the chaos that often accompanies such events. I assumed that my invitation might have been lost in the shuffle or that there was a minor clerical error. My concern grew when the day before the shower arrived, and I still had not heard a word. Feeling a mix of anxiety and disappointment, I decided to reach out to Miles, Nellie's husband. I approached him with a hopeful demeanor, seeking clarification on why I hadn't been invited. To my surprise, Miles mentioned something about a special guest being planned for the event. This revelation struck me as peculiar and unsettling. If someone significant enough was attending to justify my exclusion, who could this person be? The notion of a special guest only deepened my sense of exclusion and led me to question the underlying reasons for my omission. Unable to bear the growing discomfort, I decided to confront the issue more directly. I approached Miles with honesty and vulnerability, sharing my concerns and inquiring about the special guest. My intention was not to cause conflict, but to seek understanding. In our conversation, I felt compelled to reveal some uncomfortable truths about Nellie's past, hoping that transparency might offer some clarity and possibly address the reasons behind my exclusion. Several years prior, Nellie had been involved in a scandalous affair with a professor named Robert. This affair had been a source of significant turmoil within our family, leading to strained relationships and deep-seated tensions. The affair was not a topic that was frequently discussed, but it had always lingered as an unspoken issue. I had kept this information private, not out of malice, but because it seemed inappropriate to share such personal matters. However, the mention of the special guest and the deliberate exclusion from the baby shower compelled me to disclose this past affair. When I shared the details of the affair with Miles, the reaction was one of shock and confusion. He had not been aware of the full extent of the situation and was visibly disturbed by the revelation. Conversation took on a somber tone as we both grappled with the implications of the past and its impact on the present. Miles was clearly torn between his loyalty to his wife and his newfound understanding of the situation. The weight of the revelation hung heavy in the air. It became apparent that the baby shower was no longer just a celebration, but a focal point of unresolved issues. The fallout from the revelation was swift and dramatic. The baby shower, once a symbol of joy, was abruptly canceled. The decision was met with a mix of confusion, anger, and disappointment from various family members. The cancellation seemed to be a direct consequence of the exposure of Nellie's past and the ensuing conflict. The ripple effects of this event extended far beyond the confines of the baby shower, affecting family dynamics and relationships in profound ways. Nellie's reaction to the situation was intense and multifaceted. She felt deeply betrayed by the revelation and viewed it as a personal attack. Our confrontation was marked by heated emotions and harsh words. Nellie's anger was not only directed at me, but also at the situation that had unfolded. She struggled to reconcile the exposure of her past with the current events and felt that the revelation had undermined her happiness and the joy of the baby shower. The impact on our family dynamics was significant. Cancellation of the baby shower created a rift that extended to other family gatherings. Conversations about the event and Nellie's past were carefully avoided, creating an atmosphere of discomfort and tension. The once familiar interactions were now fraught with unspoken conflicts and strained relationships. The family was left to grapple with the consequences of the revelation and the disruption it had caused. Tony, my husband, found himself caught in the midst of the family turmoil. Initially, he had supported my decision to disclose Nellie's past, believing that honesty was necessary. However, as the fallout grew more intense, Tony began to feel the weight of the situation. The stress of navigating family conflicts took a toll on our relationship. We found ourselves arguing more frequently, struggling to maintain our own sense of stability amidst the chaos. The strain on our marriage was palpable, and it became clear that the situation was affecting us both deeply. The repercussions extended to Tony's parents as well. They viewed the exposure of Nellie's past as a breach of family trust and a disruption to the family's harmony. Their disappointment was evident, and they expressed their frustration with both me and Tony. The tension affected the larger family network, leading to awkward encounters and strained relationships. Tony's parents were particularly vocal about their disapproval, which only added to the emotional turmoil we were experiencing. In an attempt to address the growing strain on our relationship, Tony and I decided to seek couples therapy. Therapy sessions provided us with a space to explore our feelings, communicate more effectively, and address the underlying issues that had surfaced. The process was challenging, but offered valuable tools for managing conflict and rebuilding trust. We began to work through the pain and confusion that had arisen from the family crisis, striving to find a way to heal and reconnect. Therapy sessions were an eye-opener, offering insights into our individual and collective responses to conflict. We learned to navigate our emotions with greater empathy and understanding. The sessions also provided a framework for addressing family issues with care and compassion. The process of healing was gradual but transformative, and it became evident that therapy was helping us regain a sense of balance and understanding. Meanwhile, Nellie's journey was marked by significant changes. The exposure of her past forced her to confront long-buried issues and address the impact of her actions on those around her. She began to seek ways to reconcile with the family, engaging in conversations and making efforts to repair damaged relationships. The process was not easy, but it marked a turning point in her journey of self-reflection and growth. Nellie's attempts at reconciliation included reaching out to family members individually, seeking forgiveness, and making amends. She engaged in honest conversations about her past, acknowledging the hurt caused by her actions, and expressing a genuine desire to move forward. Her efforts were met with a range of responses. Some family members were receptive, while others remained guarded. The process of rebuilding trust was slow. Nellie's sincerity began to foster a gradual healing. Over time, the family dynamics shifted once again. The experience served as a reminder of the complexities of family relationships and the need for compassion and understanding. The baby shower incident became a catalyst for addressing deeper issues and fostering a more profound appreciation of family dynamics. It highlighted the importance of addressing conflicts with honesty and empathy, and provided a deeper understanding of the value of maintaining and nurturing family bonds. The journey through the baby shower incident was marked by both challenges and triumphs. It offered valuable lessons in communication, empathy, and the importance of addressing underlying issues with care. The path to healing was long and fraught with obstacles, but it ultimately led to a more profound appreciation of the intricacies of family life and the importance of nurturing relationships with sincerity and understanding. As months passed, family began to heal. Relationships that had been strained were gradually repaired, and there was a renewed focus on rebuilding trust and understanding. The experience, though painful, offered an opportunity for growth and reconciliation. The baby shower incident, once a symbol of division, evolved into a testament to the resilience of family bonds and the capacity for healing and forgiveness. In the end, the journey through the baby shower saga became a profound chapter in our family's story. served as a reminder of the challenges and rewards of maintaining relationships, the importance of addressing conflicts with empathy, and the power of forgiveness. The process of healing and reconciliation, though arduous, ultimately strengthened our family ties and deepened our appreciation for the complexities of human connection. Through this tumultuous experience, we learned that family bonds, though sometimes tested, have the capacity for deep healing and renewal. The journey was a testament to the strength of love and the resilience of family relationships, ultimately leading to a more profound understanding and appreciation of each other. The baby shower, though marred by conflict, became a pivotal moment of transformation and growth, reshaping our family dynamics and strengthening our connections. Story 2. I left my stepdad's house because my parents never stood by me, and now my mom is reaching out, wanting me back since my grandfather has cut off the financial support for my education. The twilight had draped its cool, muted colors over the sky as I stood on the doorstep of my stepdad's house, a place that had been both a sanctuary and a prison. The act of leaving this house was not merely about walking away from a physical space, but about severing ties with a life that had become a battleground of unresolved conflicts and stifling expectations. The evening air was charged with an electric mix of anticipation, anxiety, and a sense of finality that seemed to press down on me like an oppressive weight. Living with my mother and stepdad had felt like navigating a labyrinth with no clear exit. My stepdad, who had entered our lives when my mother remarried, wielded his authority with a heavy hand, imposing rules and expectations that felt more like shackles than guidelines. The environment in the house was a cauldron of constant tension, where the echoes of arguments and disapproval seemed to reverberate through the walls, turning what should have been a home into a place of emotional turbulence. His presence was a constant reminder of my perceived inadequacies. My stepdad's approach to parenting was marred by an absence of empathy and an overabundance of rigidity. He imposed his rules with a dictatorial flair, and his critique of every aspect of my life was relentless. I remember a particularly vivid instance when I was caught in the middle of a crucial academic project. The project was a linchpin for my final grades, and my group had poured countless hours into perfecting it. Yet, when I returned home late one night after a marathon study session, my stepdad's reaction was explosive. The evening was unusually quiet as I crept into the house, the air thick with the remnants of the day's tension. My stepdad was waiting for me, his face etched with anger and disappointment, his voice a harsh and unforgiving instrument of reprimand, cut through the silence with a piercing intensity. He accused me of being irresponsible, placing my academic pursuits above family obligations. Each word felt like a blow to my self-esteem, eroding the fragile sense of worth I had managed to build despite the relentless criticism. I attempted to explain the importance of the project, convey the dedication and effort my group had invested. My words fell on deaf ears. My stepdad was not interested in understanding or compromise. His judgment was final and unyielding. My mother, usually a passive observer, stood silently by, her lack of intervention a tacit endorsement of his harshness. Her silence was a heavy reminder of her inability or unwillingness to confront the discord in our home. The emotional toll of living under such oppressive conditions was profound and unrelenting. Each day felt like a series of battles fought in the shadow of my stepdad's disapproval. His criticism was a constant barrage, targeting every aspect of my life, from my academic performance to my social interactions. The relentless scrutiny and harsh judgments created an environment where my achievements felt hollow, overshadowed by a sense of never being good enough. The weight of this emotional burden was exacerbated by my mother's passive acceptance of my stepdad's behavior. Her unwillingness to advocate for me or acknowledge the emotional strain I was under deepened my sense of isolation. Felt as though I was trapped in a constant state of conflict, with no sanctuary to retreat to and no respite from the ongoing strife. As time passed, the chasm between my stepdad and me only widened. Every attempt to bridge the gap seemed to be met with new challenges and heightened demands. My efforts to meet his expectations were continually thwarted by his rigid standards and unrelenting criticism. The cycle of disappointment and frustration became a recurring feature of our interactions, creating a feedback loop of negativity that seemed impossible to break. I vividly recall a particularly challenging period when I was working part-time at a local bookstore. My job was intended to provide me with a sense of independence and a reprieve from the strained atmosphere at home. However, my stepdad's disapproval of my work schedule only added to my stress. He criticized me for spending too much time away from home, accusing me of neglecting my family responsibilities. His inability to recognize the positive aspects of my job and his fixation on perceived shortcomings only compounded my feelings of frustration and helplessness. The impact of my parents' divorce had been a seismic shift, creating ripples that affected every aspect of my life. My mother's decision to remarry shortly after the separation introduced a new layer of complexity to our family dynamics. The transition to living with my stepdad was jarring, marked by a stark contrast to the environment I had previously known. My stepdad's authoritarian approach was a jarring departure from the more lenient and understanding atmosphere I had been accustomed to. His presence in our home was a constant reminder of the upheaval caused by the divorce, a disruption that had not yet settled. The new family dynamics were challenging to navigate, and my stepdad's rigid expectations only served to exacerbate the difficulty. The breaking point came one fateful night when I was preparing for a major calculus exam. The exam was a critical juncture in my academic career, and I needed to study late into the night to ensure my readiness. I asked to use the living room light, hoping to avoid disturbing anyone else in the house. Instead of understanding, my stepdad's reaction was explosive. His anger was disproportionate to the situation, reflecting a deeper frustration that seemed to be directed at me personally. His outburst was not just about the light. It was a manifestation of his broader dissatisfaction with me. His accusations of laziness and irresponsibility were a culmination of years of unresolved tension, revealing a deep-seated frustration that had been simmering beneath the surface. My mother's decision to side with him in this moment only reinforced my sense of abandonment. Her lack of support and her willingness to prioritize my stepdad's anger over my well-being highlighted the extent to which my needs and feelings had been marginalized. The emotional impact of this confrontation was profound, marking a turning point in my decision to leave home. Feeling overwhelmed and disheartened, I made the decision to leave home. I packed a suitcase with essentials, some clothes, my laptop, and a few personal items. Leaving behind the familiar surroundings of my stepdad's house was both liberating and daunting. It was not just about seeking physical space, but about reclaiming my sense of self-worth and autonomy. The decision to leave was fraught with mixed emotions. On one hand, there was a profound sense of relief at escaping the oppressive atmosphere that had defined my life for so long. On the other hand, there was an underlying fear of the unknown, a worry about how I would navigate life on my own. The act of leaving was a declaration of independence, a step toward reclaiming control over my own life and future. As I packed my belongings, I couldn't help but reflect on the years of conflict and tension that had led to this moment. Each item I packed seemed to carry the weight of past grievances and unresolved issues. I was not just leaving a house, I was leaving behind a chapter of my life that had been marred by emotional turmoil and strained relationships. My grandparents' house, located in a quiet, picturesque part of town, became my refuge from the chaos I had left behind. Their home was a sanctuary of warmth and understanding, a stark contrast to the cold rigidity of my stepdad's household. The peaceful environment and the unconditional support of my grandparents provided a much-needed respite and a foundation for healing. The initial days at my grandparents' house were filled with a mixture of relief and adjustment. Their kindness and patience allowed me to decompress and begin the process of emotional recovery. The absence of conflict and the presence of genuine care created a nurturing environment that facilitated my healing and growth. My grandfather's decision to cut off financial support to my mom was a significant gesture, reflecting his support for my well-being and his recognition of the challenges I had faced. It was a tangible demonstration of his commitment to ensuring that I had the space and support needed to rebuild my life. Adjusting to life at my grandparents' house required a period of adaptation. The routine that had previously been dictated by conflict and tension was replaced by a sense of tranquility and stability. My grandparents' home, with its welcoming atmosphere and gentle rhythms, offered a stark contrast to the environment I had left behind. The transition was not without its challenges. The shift from a household marked by constant scrutiny to one characterized by understanding and support required a period of adjustment. I had to learn to embrace the freedom and autonomy that came with living in a more positive environment. This process involved redefining my sense of self and finding ways to rebuild my confidence and resilience. A few days after my arrival, my mom visited my grandparents' house. Her visit was an attempt to persuade me to return home, framed as a gesture of concern and reconciliation. However, her presence felt more like an intrusion than a comfort. Her reassurances about my stepdad's supposed change of heart were met with skepticism. I found it difficult to believe that anything had genuinely changed, given the history of our strained relationship. Her visit was marked by a tense conversation in which she attempted to downplay the conflicts and emphasize the need for family unity. Her words, though intended to be soothing, only highlighted the complexities of our relationship and the challenges of reconciling past grievances. Her attempt to persuade me to return home felt like a continuation of the control and manipulation that had characterized our interaction. The conversation left me feeling conflicted and uncertain. While I understood her desire to mend our fractured family, the prospect of returning to an environment that had been emotionally damaging was unappealing. I was acutely aware of the need to prioritize my own well-being and to establish boundaries that would protect me from further harm. In the weeks that followed, I began to embrace the possibilities of a new beginning. The experience of leaving home had been transformative, allowing me to gain a deeper understanding of my own needs and desires. The process of adjusting to life with my grandparents and navigating the challenges of independence was a journey of self-discovery and growth. The support and encouragement I received from my grandparents played a crucial role in this process. Their belief in my potential and their willingness to provide a nurturing environment allowed me to explore new opportunities and pursue my goals with renewed vigor. Their presence was a constant reminder of the importance of family support and the value of unconditional love. As I looked toward the future, I felt a renewed sense of hope and determination. The challenges of the past had been formidable, but they had also provided valuable lessons in resilience and self-reliance. My journey had taught me the importance of standing up for myself, setting boundaries, and seeking environments that foster personal growth and well-being. The road ahead was filled with possibilities and uncertainties, but I approached it with a newfound confidence and clarity. The experience of leaving home had been a pivotal moment in my life, one that had reshaped my understanding of family, relationships, and self-worth. As I moved forward, I carried with me the lessons learned and the strength gained from navigating one of the most challenging periods of my life.